Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Hard Knocks, which was actually the first episode of Hard Knocks this season, and first time the Giants were ever on Hard Knocks in their history, which is surprising given that John Mara said numerous times that, Giants are never going to be on Hard Knocks. And maybe the reason why he didn't want to be on Hard Knocks was because he didn't want to see or have other people see the way that he kind of acts behind the scenes, which I don't know. I'm not going to really get into that right now. You see a little bit of it, and it's not really enough to speculate on, but there's enough there. I'm going to be honest about this whole series, I'm excited that the Giants are on Hard Knocks. What I'm not really so excited about is that it's the way that they're on Hard Knocks. It's not really a super, it's an exciting time of the off season, but this is, the off season, like doing draft stuff, doing free agency stuff. If you're already like a terminally online Giants fan, like you know all of this stuff already. Like you're not really learning anything new. They go through like the Brian Burns, the Saquon drama. They honestly, they didn't do anything about the whole Wink Martindale situation, which, it's the first episode, but I doubt we're going to get any of those details in this show. Another reason why I'm not super excited about really watching Hard Knocks, with the Giants is, the Giants have the final say on all of the editorials, so you're not really seeing any of like the juicy stuff that you'd really want to see. And this really just feels like the Giants' life that they would do every year. But now it's just, bit longer on HBO. We're going to get more of it, which is good. So, just regarding the show, they basically talking about like this first episode was just is just Saquon drama. They start off the show and they're, you got everybody sitting in a room. They're talking about, is someone going to pay Saquon? Are we going to pay Saquon? Can we tag and trade Saquon? Oh, if we tag him, are we going to be able to trade him for a whole lot? Oh man, running backs aren't getting traded for nowadays. Or are we going to trade him or are we going to tag him, eat $4 million, and then get like a 5th round pick for him? Which, in full disclaimer about this video, this isn't scripted. None of my videos are scripted. This is just an off the cuff. So if you hear me rambling and saying a lot of ums and uhs, that's why. But back to Saquon. When they were talking about the whole Saquon situation at the beginning of the show and the end of the show, this might be an unpopular opinion, but when they were talking about tagging and trading him, that's what I wanted. I didn't see Saquon being a long-term piece of this team, and I would have much rather. Maybe not even in this specific offseason, but the trade deadline starting of this year or this last year, I'm sure there were teams that were calling about Saquon. And I know Saquon, his production hasn't been, or his production this last year wasn't super great, but he came off a really great year. And I'm sure there were teams pushing for playoff spots that would have loved to have traded for Saquon, and I'm pretty sure you could have gotten a 3rd or maybe even a 2nd round pick for Saquon. You guys can call me crazy for that, but I'm pretty sure you could have gotten at least a 3rd round pick for Saquon Barkley at the trade deadline. So I think that the whole conversation about, we're just gonna let him fucking walk. We're not gonna tag and trade him. We're just gonna let him walk. That didn't sit right with me when it happened, and it doesn't sit right with me now, because he was, everyone says he's the best fucking player on the Giants. He's on all the fucking promotional material before primetime games. You never see the graphic of Daniel Jones. You always see, like, if we're facing, let's say, the fucking Eagles on primetime, it's always, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, are the two graphics that they use. They never show fucking Daniel Jones. The league knows how valuable Saquon Barkley is when he's at his best, and to say that, you're not going to get more than like a 5th or a 6th round pick for Saquon is fucking lunacy. And you know what? If you have to fucking eat $4 million, and let's say hypothetically you do only get like a 5th round pick for Saquon Barkley, at least you get to choose where the fuck he goes. right? And he's not going to go to a fucking division rival. So, risk, when you're doing your risk analysis for that whole situation, you got to take that into account too. Sure, you can let him walk and you don't have to eat any dead money if that's the case, but you don't get to choose where he goes. And we already saw where he went. He went to the fucking Eagles. So, in my opinion, I think a 5th round pick and I don't know, sending him to like the Texans and eating like $4 million in cap, that's, to me, it would have been way more preferable than just letting him fucking walk, get no picks, save money, and have him go to a division rival, which that didn't sit right with me in the episode. But another thing, honestly, this is just, I really hope they don't drag off this whole Saquon bullshit throughout the whole fucking show, because I want to see other things, and as a Giants fan, people who might be watching this, you guys, Saquon's been just like just hearing his name is at nauseum this whole fucking offseason. And, even before, he left and went to the Eagles, it's always, the conversation I feel like has always been about fucking Saquon, and I'm tired of talking about Saquon, So, that was a little disappointing. They tease it in the beginning and they wrap it up with it at the end. Some of the things, some of the things that I do love about the show was when they're, all in their meeting rooms and they're going over like, hey, what do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish this offseason? What are we looking to get? And then they go through like each of the players that they were thinking about, making moves on. And one of the players that I was really shocked, or not, I guess not really shocked, but, curious on that they might even be considering was Chris Jones. Because if you could imagine Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence in the middle of that defensive line would have been fucking ridiculous. And it's disappointing, watching the show, seeing that kind of things that could have been, it leaves you a little disappointed. Brian Burns is an excellent player, and I'm happy he's a Giant. But looking back, like, man, if we were able to get Chris Jones and having Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence in the middle of the line would have been fucking disgusting. I'm trying to think of other things that happened in the show. It's really, the show is just a lot of fan service. You didn't really get to see a whole lot of Daniel Jones. Oh, that's a thing too. Every time they brought up Daniel Jones in this fucking show was like a negative. Like they didn't. It's like they didn't even fucking use him by name. They didn't even say his name. It's like, oh, we have a player making $40 million, so we can't do this, or we can't do this because of our $40 million player. He's taking 20% of the cap. And then we can't do this, we can't do that. And it's like, well, you motherfuckers paid him. And I don't know why you're blaming Daniel Jones or like kind of throwing him under the bus, maybe indirectly. But, another thing too about bringing it back to Saquon is they were talking that, hey, we try to get something done with Saquon in 2021 or 2022. We try to get shit done with Saquon. I have like no sympathy for Saquon. Hope he fucking sucks in Philly. It really seemed like they were trying to make stuff happen, and he made it difficult. Kind of forced Joe Shane's hand and paying Daniel Jones because, the deadline was coming up. You had to make a decision what you were gonna do. So we're gonna pay Daniel Jones, and then we're going to tag Saquon, and then he acts all fucking pissy about it. And then I'm sure they were trying to get shit done too this offseason, and he was still like, no, like fuck all that, like. So, it was kind of disappointing the way that they were talking about Daniel Jones, and it didn't really seem like it was really a positive way. Besides, talking about how they want to get him to succeed by investing in the offensive line. And that's the thing too. There was segments of the show where they were talking about how they want to invest that money into the offensive line, and I don't really think. And I know, again, I'm probably in the minority here, where I don't think they really invested enough in the offensive line. They didn't draft a single fucking offensive lineman. If it was that big of a deal, and if you really wanted to have Daniel Jones succeed, you went out and you got two free agent one free agent guard, one tackle turning into a guard, and it's like you're gonna be playing people out of position. Runyon said that he liked to play right side, or you like to play left side, and you're gonna have him play right. Illuminori, he's a right tackle, you're having him play left guard. Cooper Beebe and Christian Haynes were there in the third round, and you take a what I would call a project corner. So I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's like, okay, you're in these meetings, you're preaching about how you want to fucking protect your $40 million quarterback, and and you don't draft a single offensive lineman, and you basically kind of, not that Illuminor is scraping the bargain bin. I think he's an excellent right tackle. He's a stable starting right tackle in the NFL, but you're not having him at right tackle. You're having him at fucking left guard. And the only reason why you're doing that is because you drafted Evan Neal 7th overall, and be it ego, be it, it's too much of a fucking investment, whatever, you're going to have him still be on the fucking right side, playing tackle, instead of at least attempting to see if maybe he might not be a great tackle, but maybe he'll be an excellent guard. And I don't know, it's just like watching these shows behind the scenes, it's just like, I don't know, you're saying all this shit, and you want me to hear that you're saying this shit because you have the final editorial say, but then like I watch your actions, and it's like, I don't know, I don't understand. Like trading for Brian Burns, yeah, that's fucking cool, but like he's one fucking player on a defensive line. So I don't know, I'm just fucking rambling. I mean, I like, don't get me wrong, I liked watching the show. As a Giants fan, it's cool to see the Giants in Hard Knocks, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel like I'm just like, I don't know, watching propaganda. I feel like this is for like normies that don't fucking watch sports. They'll watch Hard Knocks or something because it's like, I don't know, it's popular, it's fucking trending or something, so they fucking watch it because, I don't know, their boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever make them fucking watch it. So I don't know, I'm excited to see, maybe it was just this episode. I'm excited to see where the show goes, after this one, because the preview for the next one is all the combine stuff, and you're watching interviews with all these players, and honestly, I don't really give a shit about the fucking interviews with players that didn't end up being Giants. Like I don't fucking care. Like, you can give a great fucking interview. I could think you gave a great interview. Front office could have thought you gave a great interview, but if you're not a Giant, I don't really give a shit. So, but they showed clips of, asking Malik Neighbors just in the preview, asking Malik Neighbors like, hey, how are you going to feel if you don't get the ball early in a game? Or if you're not getting involved early in a game? And he's like, yeah, it's going to fucking piss me off, essentially is what he said. And I love that answer. If let's say if I was a general manager and I was picking 6th overall and I was talking to one of the top wide receiver prospects, and it's such a fucking kind of a bullshit question to begin with. It's like, how are you going to feel if you're not involved in the game plan? Or how are you going to feel if you're not, how are you going to feel if you're not making an impact on the team? It's like, yeah, look, dude, I'm like one of the top 3 fucking wide receivers in this class, in a really good fucking wide receiver class. Like, you saw my production. You know what you're getting with me. Like, I'm not gonna, I didn't work that hard to fucking come to the NFL to not be fucking used, right? Like, I don't want a passive little bitch to be sitting on my fucking bench that I just drafted 6th overall. No, I want a guy that's gonna be like adamant, like, hey, get me involved. Like, I know I can beat this fucking corner. I know I can beat this coverage. I can get open. Give me the fucking ball. That's the attitude I want. And that's the answer that he gave. So I'm excited to see more interviews like that with players that eventually became Giants. Not so much with players that ended up on the Chiefs or on the Commanders or fucking Bills or whatever the fuck. Like, I do not fucking care. All right. Well, I think this video came off really negative and pretty rambly, but I don't know. I wish we were able to see more of the shit that the Giants don't want us to see rather than the shit that they do want us to see, because it's just, I don't know, it just feels like, just telling people what they want to hear. Like, oh yeah, we need to boost up, like I said, boost off the offensive line. Oh, we gotta do this and we gotta do that. And then you look at what actually happened, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you got one big piece in Brian Burns. Like, I'm excited about that, but you got, I mean, who else? Who else did you get? You got the two offensive linemen. Both of them, I feel like, playing on a position, not so much Runyon, but yeah. Anyway, I'll cut off this video because I feel like I can just rant, or I feel like I can just talk about this forever. So, if you like the video, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment. New to making videos, so formatting, they're gonna be all over the place, just spitting off whatever comes to my head. So stay tuned, because I'll be having a video for all of the episodes, and hopefully the other episodes that come are a little bit more informative. They give a little bit more to talk about besides just fucking Saquon drama and the $40 million man. So yeah, anyway, you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.